Hello, and welcome. Welcome to the Fit Over 40 Challenge Show, the number one health and fitness show for those of us in the club. Yes, that's right, the 40 and Over Club. My name is Coach Dave. I'm going to be your coach and your host today. Super excited to bring you another episode of the show. And today I want to talk to you about how to start again after quitting. Now, for some of you, you've been listening to the podcast now and you're not going to quite understand the whole aspect about me not recording the show for almost about a year now. I think November was the last time I broadcasted a show, and it's been almost a year. Now, what I want to do today is I want to use basically me, no longer producing episodes and kind of relate it to the whole fitness side. A lot of times, we'll start on a program and we'll quit, and then what happens is it gets longer and longer before we start again. And I'm going to talk to you, kind of tie it all in. Some of you guys, again, have been listening to this and you don't even know what I'm talking about because you found the show and you've been listening to episodes and you don't really look at the date, so you're kind of like, okay, what is he talking about? But just so you know, to have the context behind this is I had recorded probably the last episode sometime in November of 2018. As of this recording, it is September 2019. Okay, so it's almost been a year. And like I said, what I want to talk to you about is, the reason that I quit, and then two, and maybe three and four, throw some other stuff because I might ramble, is how to get back started again. Okay, so here's the thing. I guess I want to say my priorities had shifted. I really, really enjoy and love doing the podcast. But what happened was I also do some online coaching, and I also coach at Orange Theory Fitness. And I had taken on a management position, which I also enjoy. However, those things started to get more and more of my time, and I said to myself, oh, I'll just go to once a month. And so then I was, starting to do a podcast once a month. And then eventually I'm like, I just don't have time. I don't have time to do a podcast. And that whole scenario right there is one of the biggest reasons that I hear people talk about not having time to work out. And, I just basically kind of dismissed it and said, you know what? I said, right now, my focus and my priorities is in this. I'm going to put the podcast on hold. Well, what happened? Well, December, January, February, March, extremely busy months in the fitness industry and when it comes to coaching and training. And I had not produced a podcast. The time continued, and it just got farther and farther and farther away from the last time I did it. And of course, I could say to myself, well, it's just a podcast. But when I started the podcast, my why behind this was all due to the fact that I wanted to change and impact others' lives. That's really my strength. That's my mission. That's my purpose here. I know that. Took me a while to find that out, but I know that. And the thing was not that I wasn't still doing it, because I still, I'm on social media and I've produced some videos and stuff like that, but I just stopped doing the podcast. And, we find this the same when it comes to working out. We have busy lives. We have schedules that, ultimately take up a lot of our time. And time is one of those things where you don't get it back. But I've gone through this exercise many times with clients about write down every single thing that you are doing during the day, during the week. And I guarantee you, I can find one, I can find two, I can find three, probably 4, 5, maybe even 6 hours for you to work out. Well, this podcast Sometimes takes maybe an hour, 2 hours. I do one once a week, or I was doing one once a week. I can't find 2 hours out of my day to do a podcast. No, what happened was I got complacent. I basically had got to the point where it wasn't a priority for me. It wasn't something that I made, my number one priority. I didn't have a real big, strong why, or let me rephrase it, because I did have a why, but I didn't go back to my why. And that's what you have to do when it comes to working out again. Listen, if you have quit a workout program in the past, you're not alone, okay? And if you're hearing this for the very first time because you're looking to get started on a fitness program, let me tell you, there's going to be a time period where you might go without working out and not eating great and maybe beating yourself up over it. But just because you quit doesn't mean you can't start again, okay? You can start today. You can start tomorrow. You can start next week. You can start anytime you want after you quit. You don't have to quit forever. That's the thing. My mother used to say, winners never quit. And as long as you're still alive, you still have that opportunity. And you still have that opportunity to change, okay? You can change today. It doesn't matter what age you are. If you've never worked out in your entire life and you are 45 years old, you could start a workout program and change your life, change the trajectory of your life, your quality of life, everything. It doesn't matter as long as you start again. Now, starting again comes to that point when you're dissatisfied and you're ready to make a change. That's when the change will happen. It'll happen in an instant. Tony Robbins talks about that. He says that, change can happen in an instant, but you have to get to that point, and that point could be periods of time. Same thing here with me. I'm ready again to start getting my podcast and getting my message out there again. I really have done a lot of thinking over the summertime and kind of where I want to go, where I want to be. So I'm going to start again. So maybe we can start this journey together. Maybe you're starting something again. Maybe you're starting your fitness journey for the first time. So maybe we can start together and I can continue to start giving content. I've kind of mapped out a few things that I'd like to do in the next several months in terms of, providing you some value with content on this podcast. So been mapping that out, trying to get that set up. But here's the thing. If you are starting today for the very first time again, you have to define your why. Okay? If you go back to any previous podcasts that I've talked about, it does come down to your why. All right? You've got to have a strong enough reason why you want to do it. Okay? You have a strong enough reason why you want to do it, then you have to keep that why in your head. That was kind of something that went away from me. I forgot about the impact I was having reaching others. I mean, we had had people from Australia. I'd had people from Ireland, all over, listening to the podcast, and I lost sight of that. Again, I'm not saying that there was some other reasons that I did it, but I basically made the excuse that I didn't have time, and we have time. So that's the other thing you have to do. After you figure out your why, so you've got to plan out your schedule. If you are somebody who procrastinates and by the time the end of the day comes around, you don't do it, your best thing is do it first thing in the morning. Okay? I'm not going to get into whether it's better to do it first thing or, midday or what's best for you. That's what you do. But get it done. Schedule it. You have to schedule your time. Okay? So plan it. Why? And then I want you to think about the next 12 weeks. Okay? It's going to kind of bring us close to the end of the year. Now, again, depending on when you're listening to this podcast, because it might not be in September, it might be January of 2020. Same principles. Think of 12 weeks. Start breaking your goals down into 12 weeks. Come up with a big hairy, audacious goal for the next 12 weeks. Something that's going to really push you out of that comfort zone. Okay? Now, once you get your strong why, once you get your 12-week goal, once you plan it, now it's starting to implement and starting to do it. Okay? The thing that most people do is they start off and they have these outcome-based goals. Okay? They think about how much, let's say, weight they want to lose in 12 weeks. And the thing that fails them is that they don't reach it, and then they get discouraged and they quit. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think of a 12-week goal that will challenge you, but it's not outcome-based. It's more behavior-based. So how many times in the next 12 weeks will you work out? How many times will you eat healthy and clean? Think of behavior-based goals. Write those down. If you want to share them with me, you can share them over on the Fit Over 40 Challenge Facebook page. I'll put a link or whatever in there. But have those goals, okay? And make them make them behavior-based, not outcome-based. All right? So I hope that this has fired you up a little bit. I hope this has reignited you. I mean, the main thing that I want you to take away from this is it doesn't matter if you've quit once, 10, 20, 100 times. If you start again, you can change your life. You can change the trajectory. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how many times you quit, start again. It's that quote, get knocked down 9 times, get up 10. You are a fighter. You don't quit. You keep going, because winners never quit. And I believe if you're listening to this podcast, you are a winner. So what I'd like for you to do is help me, okay? I need some help as well. What I'd like for you to do is leave me a review. Leave me a comment. Share it with a friend. Pass it along. Because that right there helps me continue to go. Because I realize that what I'm providing you is a value, something that you're taking to heart, and that you feel, hey, I know somebody else that needs to hear this. Okay, maybe it's somebody else that maybe it's a family member that's quit and hasn't worked out in a year or two, and you can see their health starting to deteriorate. But you say, hey, you know what? You can start again. Listen, Coach Dave talks about that. Here's the podcast, okay? That's all I want to do, is I just want to continue to spread the message. I want to continue to live out my mission of impacting and changing lives. So if you would share that with me, or share that with someone, share a comment, leave a review, that would be so grateful and be so helpful for me. Again, if you need any other assistance, you can reach out to me. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, social media. And like I said, I'm here to help you again. And I hope that this lights a fire under you and gets you to realize that just because you quit doesn't mean you can't start again. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign it off. This is Coach Dave. I will see you again soon. Or I guess I wouldn't see you. You will hear from me soon. All right.